All right, today we are going on a kind of detective mission. We're going to journey deep inside the microscopic world of our own bodies to find the ultimate instruction manual, the master blueprint that makes all life, well, possible. So let's dive right in.
It all really starts with a pretty simple question, but it's a huge one. What tells a cell what to do? How does one of your cells know it's supposed to be a bone cell while another one knows it's supposed to be a skin cell? There has to be some kind of instruction manual in there, right?
I want you to think of a single cell, like a tiny, bustling city. You've got power plants generating energy, complex transportation networks, construction sites, all of it working 24/7. But any city needs a plan, right? It needs a director, someone calling the shots. So the big mystery is, who or what is in charge inside that cell?
For a long time, scientists had a prime suspect in this investigation. It was a type of molecule that just seemed to be, well, everywhere, doing everything. So let's start there with our first big clue, the powerful protein puzzle.
Okay, so meet proteins. If our cells are these little cities, then proteins are the entire workforce. Seriously, they're the construction crews, the delivery drivers, the security guards. They are the workhorses of the cell, doing pretty much all of the heavy lifting that keeps you alive.
And the sheer variety of jobs they do is it's mind-blowing. Proteins give a cell its structure, its actual shape. They make up our muscle tissue. They act as enzymes, which basically supercharge all the chemical reactions in our bodies. They're also our body's defense force, fighting off germs as antibodies. And they're the postal service, carrying messages and materials all over the place. They really seem to do it all.
Just take hemoglobin, for example. This is a protein with a very specific, very important job. It grabs oxygen from your lungs and hauls it to every single cell in your body. Without hemoglobin, we couldn't survive for more than a few minutes. So you can see why the case for proteins being the master instructions was so strong.
So it seems like our mystery is solved, right? Proteins are running the whole show. The workers are also the bosses. Case closed. Well, not quite. Turns out the story is a little more complicated than that.
And this is where our investigation takes a really interesting turn. We need to look a little deeper. We don't need to look at the workers anymore. We need to look at the chain of command. It's time to crack the master code.
See, this is the question that changes everything. If proteins are the tireless workers, who tells them what to do? Who gives them the blueprints? A construction worker doesn't just show up and design a skyscraper on the spot. They follow a detailed plan. So who's the architect?
Okay, so let's just follow the logic here. Our traits, things like your eye color or hair color, they come from what a protein does, its function. That function depends completely on its specific folded 3D shape, and that shape is determined by the exact order of its building blocks, which are called amino acids. So the ultimate question becomes, what determines that sequence?
The answer, the true mastermind, the architect behind it all, is deoxyribonucleic acid.
You probably know it better as DNA. This is the real boss. See, DNA isn't the worker, it's the master blueprint. It's the hereditary material that holds the precise instructions for building every single protein your body will ever need. The proteins do the work, but the DNA gives the orders.
So how does a chemical blueprint tucked away inside a cell's nucleus actually build, well, you? This brings us to one of the most fundamental ideas in all of biology.
It's called the central dogma. It sounds complicated, but it's really the unbreakable rule of life. Information flows from the DNA blueprint, it gets copied into a temporary message, and then that message is read to build a protein. That's it. It's the process that turns the digital code of DNA into the physical reality of a living thing.
Now, you might be thinking, if we all use DNA as our blueprint, and we all have the same basic set of instructions, then why aren't we all identical? Well, that's where we get into the code of individuality.
And here's the key. Think of a gene as a recipe category, like, say, the recipe for cookies. We all have the gene or recipe for cookies. But an allele is the specific version of that recipe. You might have the recipe for chocolate chip, while someone else has the one for oatmeal raisin. Same basic idea, but different variations. It's the same with us. We all have the gene for a protein like collagen, but tiny variations in that gene, different alleles, make our collagen slightly different, and that's what makes each of us unique.
And that's really the amazing takeaway here. As the source material puts it so well, those small differences in the order of amino acids and proteins are enough to make us all different. Just think about that. Every bit of human diversity, all of our unique traits, it all boils down to these tiny, microscopic variations in our master code. It's incredible.
So we'll leave you with this thought. We've uncovered a code, a simple, elegant language that writes the story of every single living thing on Earth. The question now is, if a simple code can write all of life, what else can we, the readers of that code, learn to write with it?